That was pretty good.
That's because it's true.
About 15 years ago, I was working for Fish and Game, and we had one of those breeding facilities out in Caldwell, which that 15 years ago, Caldwell was not what it is today. It was not the new Nampa. As a matter of fact, even Nampa wasn't the new Nampa. And so I'm working out there, and we got a whole collection of animals. We got 15 bighorn sheep, which you ever seen one of those with their horns wrapping around like, maybe God is capable of making mistakes. And we had 30 bison, and the bison, they'll look at you like, give me a cookie. Always wanting something, those bison. And then we had 100 elk. And for all those 100 elk, we had 3 bull elk. Why? For breeding. I mean, these guys are busy. And so they're doing, the bull elk do their thing. And it's reached the point where they're all done, and the she elks are out in the pasture smoking a cigarette. So what are we going to do with these 3 bull elk, right? Well, we give them to the food bank. Yeah, they turn them into people food. Like Soylent Green. Well, I'm up on a raised platform, and I got my bull elk. There's Dino. I got my rattle paddle to guide them through the chutes and the alleyways to get them onto the truck to go to the food bank. So Dino goes, no problem. And then we got Sammy. Now, Sammy's a little tricky because he's blind in one eye, and if you don't supervise him, well, he'd just go around in circles. And so I led him through the chutes and the alleyways and up into the truck. Now, if you ever seen a bull elk, you're probably wondering, well, how much does a bull elk weigh? Typically it's 600 or 700 pounds. Okay, but now we're on to the third. Frank. Frank must weigh about 3,800 pounds. He's big, and he's mean, and he's got those bloodshot eyes and a smoke coming out of his ears, and I'm trying to lead him onto the ramp into the truck, and he's about to go up the ramp, and he turns and he looks at me, and he comes charging, and he jumps up onto the wall. Now I'm on the elevated platform, and I go over 10 feet, and I land safely on my arms. Ow. Well, Julie, my tech, she comes running over. Are you okay? You okay, Lewis? Well, you don't look so okay. How many fingers am I holding up? And I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait a minute. I shake my head. Oh, no, 3. And she's like, well, maybe you ought to call your wife. No, don't worry about it. I'm fine. You go home. I'll lock up. We're not going to send the bulls tonight. They get a reprieve. We'll let them out into the pasture, and we'll worry about it tomorrow. So you go home. I'll lock up. I'll turn out the lights. No big deal. She takes off. I lock up, turn out the lights. I head out to my truck. I get in the truck, and I start up the truck. Now, you want to know the best way to drive a truck? not with your elbows. But that's all I had left. And so I drove home like this, going, ow, I'm trying to sing, right, like distract myself. And I get home and I say, okay, lights are out. I'm just gonna sneak in the back and head up the stairs to bed. And my wife, she won't know. I mean, I know I'm supposed to call her. I forget. I didn't call her. So now I'm trying to get out of the truck, and I can't get out of the truck. So I honk the horn. Honk, honk, honk with my forehead. See the lights come on in the house. My wife comes running out. She takes one look at me and she said, Jesus Christ, Louis, what happened to you? And so I told her. And then she went like this. She held up one finger. Said, Louis, do you remember? We had a rule, right? We talked about this. If you get injured, you're supposed to call me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, but I didn't. And rule number 2 is that if you call me and I don't pick up the phone, well, don't leave a message. Honey, I remember that as if it was yesterday. It was yesterday. No wonder. And if you had just called me, I would have come in and I would have got you. And I say, you know what? Don't worry, honey, baby, sweetie pie. It won't happen next time. And she said, ha! Next time? There'll be no next time. We're going to the ER right now. And so she took me down to the ER, and we waited for what seemed like 36 hours, and they took me in, and then in walks Dr. Drake Ramore, which is not his real name. I changed the names to protect the practitioners. He comes in, and he looks at me, and he looks at my wife, and he looks at me, and he looks at my wife, and he says, Mrs. Katz, I'm very sorry, but we're going to have to put him down. And then he starts laughing, and I'm laughing, and we're all laughing except my wife. Well, she's not laughing. See, that very funny. And the doctor said, no, seriously now, we're going to have to operate, but you'll be almost as good as new. And so the next day we did the operation, and sure enough, I was almost as good as new. My wrist, which had already, it seems to be a magnet for disaster, but you know what? It's not quite perfect, but it's really good for fly fishing. And my elbow, it acts up every now and then, mostly when I'm in the line at the In-N-Out trying to get to the front. And that's the conclusion of the middle of this story. And now some other guy is going to come up and try to convince you that it's his.
Okay, now's the time where you can take out your phones. Now, if you don't know how to text Story B-Day to 44321, what that means is you open your messaging app, you type 44321, and then the message says Story B-Day, and then you hit send. Then it's going to send you a link for you to click, and then you can do your thing. If you want to give a gift but you don't want to ask a question, you can do it anonymously. I won't call on Anonymous to do a question.
All right, maybe this is a question for all 3 of you. Who's willing to take off their hat?
That's an easy question. I'd say no. I'd say no. Yeah, none of us.
All of you are no? That's not fair. I guess that was my question.
Chelsea, are you on your way? Come on, Chelsea, think of your question as you're coming down. I don't know how long my cord is. All right, so you can ask a different question to each storyteller or the same question across.
And the goal is to guess.
You're trying to figure out who the imposters are, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think I know who the imposter is, but I don't know what question to ask. Number 2, what's your job?
Yeah, come to the mic. Actually, all 3 of you come up to the mic.
On the count of 3, say your jobs. Just kidding.
Veterinarian.
Oh, right.
Veterinarian with the Idaho Department of Fish and Game.
You're all veterinarian.
Veterinarian.
Yeah.
Right, maybe something about being a veterinarian.
What kind of animals did you work on last week?
Which one?
Number 2.
Why do you keep picking on me?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, I will ask a question of each of the storytellers. Storyteller number 1, what kind of drug is the safest to use to put a large animal under?
It's a form of lidocaine called priscostanozone. Does that help?
Storyteller number 2, same question.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, what's the safest drug to use to make a large animal unconscious?
Hydrocortisone.
Storyteller number 3, same question, please.
High potency narcotic called carfentanil.
All right, thank you very much. You can take your seats.